Today we're cooking one of my all-time favorite barbecue recipes, and it's baby back ribs on the Weber grill. But why is it my favorite? It's my favorite because this is my family's recipe. This is actually the recipe that put Sweet Baby Ray's on the map. So my dad would always cook this recipe, whether it's a birthday party or specifically, I remember 4th of July, he would make this recipe. So it starts with the Weber grill.
Weber grill, mandatory, with the top so we can put the top on and smoke the ribs.
And you put 26 briquettes on each side.
Start with 52, we put 26 on each side, and that way we know we're controlling between 360 and 375 degree temperature in there.
And then you put a water pan down and a rib rack.
We have a rib rack where we stand the ribs up and the grease drips down into a...
And then you place your ribs on the rib rack.
That will allow us to stand the ribs up and the juice to cook down and the ribs to cook evenly.
And it takes about 3 hours. Every half an hour you want to rotate the ribs, add a couple more coals. So it's super simple. Anybody that has a Weber grill, a backyard, some ribs and some charcoal can make this recipe. They always did it with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and Sweet Baby Ray's, of course. Today, I'm gonna use our Boss blend, which is very similar. It's salt, pepper, garlic powder, a little bit of onion, and then Duce's Wild Competition sauce. Well, my dad created Sweet Baby Ray's, and this is my version of it. It's a little spicier, it's got a little more kick from honey, but it's amazing, and I love this recipe. I can't wait for you guys to check it out. It's time to barbecue like a boss! All right, guys, today we're cooking baby back ribs on the Weber grill, and I grew up with this recipe. It's amazing. I love the flavor of the charcoal, the meatiness of the ribs, and then, of course, that sweet Duce's Wild sauce on at the end. So let's get into it. So we're gonna start with about 2.5 to 3 pound slabs of baby back ribs. And the most important thing that we're gonna do in trimming here is getting off this membrane. So you start in the middle, and then work your way through to the other side. And I've done this all sorts of different ways with paper towels and everything like that. This is for sure the best way that I've done it. So you get your fingers all the way through in the middle, and then with your other hand, hold it down, grip it, and rip it. And it comes all off in one piece. I'll show you again. Okay, so start in the middle and work your fingers across to the other side. Then you want to get a really good handle on it and put your other hand down in the middle. So push down with this hand and then pull up with this hand. And get yourself a really good grip and pull it off all in one piece. That's the best way to do it. So now we got our ribs. And what I usually do, especially for this recipe, but a lot of times I'll take these thinner bones off because they just will cook way too fast. By the time the rest of it's cooked, it's going to get burnt. And these ribs are pretty moist, so you do not need a binder. If you want to put a binder on, you can go with some mustard, a little bit of oil or something, but you do not need a binder. So this one, we're going with our Boss blend seasoning, salt, pepper, onion, and garlic, okay? Mostly salt, pepper, and garlic. And just a nice coat on each side. This is how my dad and my uncle did it when they entered in the Mike Royko Ribfest back in 1984 and took 2nd place out of 700 contestants. They used a real simple rub and they let the flavor of the meat and the grill and the sauce shine. But I love this Boss blend seasoning. I put it on everything, on vegetables, on potatoes, chicken breast, pork chops, ribs. It's a really good base flavor. All right, guys, people always ask me, when are the ribs done? And there are definitely ways to tell without using a thermometer. And to be honest, I don't use thermometers a lot with ribs, but we're gonna give it a shot. This will be a foolproof way. You'll know exactly when they're done. We're gonna use the Temp Spike Pro. It's got 4 thermometers. I'm just gonna temp one of the ribs because pretty much once that's tender, we know the rest of them are gonna be good too. So we're gonna stick this in the thickest part of the rib. Make sure it's not on a bone and all the way in the meat. Now, we have on our app set this to 200 degrees. So when this hits 200 degrees, we're gonna get a notification and we're gonna be able to take the ribs off because we know they're done. All right, guys, let's get them on the grill. So we have our Weber grill. Now, this is set up very specifically for this recipe. We have 26 briquettes on one side and 26 briquettes on the other side. Then there's a water pan and the rib rack standing up. And this is, again, the recipe my dad and uncle developed to enter into the Mike Royko Ribfest in 1984 and kind of put Sweet Baby Ray's on the map. So we have our ribs, and then they stand up on this rib rack. Okay, so now we have our ribs on here. They're gonna be on here for about an hour before we do anything. We're gonna put the lid back on, and then it's very important with this vent, you wanna close it about a quarter of the way. That's your airflow. The vent on the bottom of the grill is completely open. This one is about a quarter closed. The first hour, you're gonna leave it alone. After that, you're gonna start rotating the ribs. You're gonna rotate the middle ones to the outside, and you're also gonna turn them over. And then, after an hour, every half hour, you wanna add 6 briquettes to each side. That's gonna keep that fire nice and hot. Now, back in the day, my uncle and my dad would always add wood chips, okay? So they would add a little bit of wood chips on each side. But now, Royal Oak makes a hickory wood chip inside their charcoal. So we don't have to worry about that. It's a great product. All right, let's check them out in a little bit. All right, guys, we're gonna rotate our ribs. So you can see this beautiful color on here. And when I mean rotate, it's all you're doing is taking it out and flipping it over so it's cooked evenly. And then you can also, if the middle rack, you can rotate and put that to the outside. Take the rib out, rotate. Take the rib out, rotate. So then you put the lid back on, another half an hour, and they should be done. So a total cook time of about 2.5 hours, depending on how hot your coals are. Make sure you're about a quarter of the way closed there, and you're good to go. All right, guys, we hit our mark at 200 degrees. Plus, I've cooked this recipe 100 times. I know when the ribs are done, and they're done. You can tell by this bone popping through a little bit and the bone marrow bubbling. These look absolutely gorgeous. You get that nice color. I can't wait to dig into these puppies. All right, now, this is like one of the most important steps. We're gonna reposition our grill to get ready to sauce them. So you gotta take this apart. See how the coals are separated? We're gonna push them to make a thin layer. And then we're gonna put our rib rack on. And then we're gonna be able to crisp up both sides and put a nice layer of sauce on. This really gives you that backyard flavor. I just love this part of the recipe. You get it nice and crusty on the outside, and that glaze of the sauce, just beautiful. And this is, I mean, you can really smell that pork rendering down on those coals. I absolutely love that flavor. Now, if you see when I turn this over, see that bubbling? That is pure gold right there. You'll see it here too. Now we gotta go fast here because we want to just touch that top side, start cooking that sauce just a little bit. Oh boy, I might start crying. This is just how I remember ribs when I grew up. They look so beautiful. We're gonna do just a minute like that just to set the sauce on the top. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. This is how I remember ribs growing up as a kid. You get that backyard flavor, that nice sweet sauce, and you're gonna be able to taste the meat. I mean, just look at that. If that doesn't scream barbecue in the backyard, I don't know what does. Something about the way these ribs smell just get me so excited. I cannot wait to dig into those. All right, you guys ready to taste this?
Yeah.
All right, so this is the way Pa taught me how to make ribs. So on the Weber grill, okay? Except we use Duce's Wild. Don't tell him.
They're crispy.
Yeah, you get that char from they're a little hot, so be careful. Cheers. Too hot?
It's really good though. Yeah.
That's why I like, they don't fall off the bone, you know? But they come off the bone clean. Really get the flavor of the grill. You can taste the charcoal. You can get the sweetness from the sauce, but it's not too much. It's just a light layer.
It's really good.
All right, guys, that does it for our recipe of baby back ribs on the Weber grill. If you have any question, leave them in the comments below. This is my favorite way to make ribs.